And she thought he doesn't deserve anything. He didn't take care of her, all this housekeeping, So then Milaneva said, I was very busy by myself. Isaac. Let's hear from Israel. Rashid Delek, Carol Brighton from
Kenshin.
Good morning. And Kevin, good morning. Tessie, good morning. Ray, good morning. Roy.
Good morning.
Now it looks like a time. Who's leading the meditation with prayers?
All mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness. May they experience happiness, be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of most perfect and precious awakening. All mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness. May they experience happiness, be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in a state of the most perfect and precious awakening. All mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness. May they experience happiness, be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect, precious awakening. Thus, until I achieve awakening, I engage in the virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until I attain the heart of awakening, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma, and likewise in the assembly of bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas developed awakening mind and progressed on the bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all migratory beings, give rise to bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path. Until I attain the heart of awakening, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma, and likewise in the assembly of bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas developed awakening mind and progressed on the bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all migratory beings, give rise to bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path. Until I attain the heart of awakening, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma, and likewise in the assembly of bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas developed awakening mind and progressed on the bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all migratory beings, give rise to bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and causes of suffering. May they never be separated from happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all Mother Sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. The ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, 4 continents, sun and the moon. I hold in mind as a Buddha field and offer it. May all Mother migratory beings experience such a pure land. Whatever slight virtue that may have been gathered through prostrations, offerings, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and beseeching, I now dedicate with complete awakening. Namo Guru, the complete purity of phenomenal existence, I make offerings to you who manifest the ground of phenomenal existence and supplicate you for freedom of migratory beings of the 3 realms in their entirety. Please give your blessings and dredge samsara from its very depths. Lord, wish-fulfilling gem, ornament of my crown, beyond word and expression is your victorious mind, endowed with the insight of the 5 primordial wisdom, epidemic love, the one with kindness, precious protector of migratory beings. I supplicate you in the innate state of mind. Please bless me in this state of suchness. Bless me so that I can realize this primordially unborn, completely pure mind as the Dharmakaya beyond thoughts.
Hello, everybody. First, please take a deep breath. Inhale fully and expand your stomach and chest. And exhale. And relax the mind. This teaching now, today, the song that clarifies the recollection, as requested way back here, the group in medicine in Chicago. So I talked at that time. Today, this now again requested our center in Chicago. The Chicago Ranashiri Center has requested this. So that's why I'm just, as the request. So I will say a few things from this. Last time we had, I think, 2 sessions. Today, just now, 1 session on this today. So we have to go through it. But Dharma is always too good. Receive again and again, many times. So refresh your understanding, practice. Especially, it's very important we practice the Dharma. It is educational as well, of course, but our very purpose of this study and the practice of Dharma is not like a studying mathematics or science. This is something that we have to kind of say, bring into the heart, in our mind. Because as you see, the mind is the one that we have to make a friend. Our samsaric mind is like an enemy. No? It gathers all the suffering into us in our life and make us miserable, And so we have to make our mind as a friend, a source of peace and happiness. See, that is the very purpose of our interest in Dharma. And that will help us and help many others. So as you know, and we are just repeating this all the time, we all desire for peace and happiness. Universally, there's no disagreement on this. And we all desire to have peace and happiness. Everybody, even animals, birds, insects. But that, having said that, it is very clear, it's very conditional. It's based on causes and conditions. So here we're studying what are the right cause for peace and happiness. What are the cause for suffering that we have to get rid of? So that's the Dharma we need. So then there's a mind, as you see, the samsaric mind and enlightened mind. The nature is emptiness. But the samsaric mind is confused, and it abides in the constitution of the confusion. So because of that confusion, then it creates all the cause of suffering. See, it's universal. It's not a Buddhist belief, you see. So like here, you can see, I can talk here, everybody. We have people from Europe, from United States, and from South America, from Malaysia, from Vietnam, and it can be from anywhere, I can talk everybody, at the same time, because everybody can understand. It makes sense, you see. Because it's based on the reason. So that's of course, there are many layers to understand it, because our mind is very complex and very sophisticated and very profound, I should say, and very vast. So it takes time to grow ourselves, to understand ourselves. It's like going to kindergarten, and then preschool, and then elementary school, high school, college, university, so forth. So that's our Dharma, our minds, I should say, our mind, how it grows. So the study, practice should go together. Only intellectualizing doesn't solve the problem. You intellectualize and conceptualize, and through that cannot penetrate the depth of the mind. So practice is required, you see, because we don't practice enough. just mostly like myself also. I just read, and then I get some benefit, but then it disappears, you know. When I read, oh yes, it makes sense. Well, it makes sense. Wonderful, so precious, you know. But when I close the book, and I close it together, I close the book and I close the meaning, you know. So if you practice, then if you close the book, the meaning is there in your mind. Therefore, the practice is so crucial, so important, because we call enlightenment. You know, the enlightenment will achieve through the practice, not just by reading the books, you know, not just by just understanding itself, but we have to digest the teaching. You know, it has to understand. Like say, like we food, you know, we make a delicious food, and then we eat it. Then we have to digest. You see, first you have to eat, then digest. You see. So like this, we study, we understand, then put into practice. So this is very important. So it perfectly it makes sense. Here's, you know, the teaching that clarifies recollection. You know? So now, if I read the first, you know, the background of this song, how it happened. Once, when Jigten was residing at Dikung Til, it's the monastery in Dikung, more like southeast of Lhasa, about 3 hours drive. So it's a very famous monastery. So at that place, Jigten, he gathered his students in a meadow behind the monastery, and asked them, this, not all the students, only few selected, about 30 students, the very senior students, who have been studying, practicing for many years, who achieved great ability to show, to demonstrate their realization. So asked them, he requested, perform display of the miracle powers. Oh, so everybody, they show their ability to demonstrate, but one was unable, one was comply with the Guru's request. And this disciple, who's called Rinchenta, certainly died from like a shame or little embarrassment, something like that, because he was same with all others, a senior student, but he didn't kind of say, he could not display his ability. When the undertakers tried to dismember his corpse, his body, to feed the vultures, the body resisted the knife. So then Jigten placed, so they informed Jigten what happened. So Jigten understood exactly what's happening. So he came there, placed his walking stick. At that time, Jigten looks like Jigten was getting old, 70s. Stick on the heart center of the corpse, Rinchenta, and sang this song. So the clarifying the recollection. So this means Jigten has taught all those teachings in the past. So that moment he forgot. See, he forgot to bring back in his memory. So therefore, Jigten Sumgon kind of recollected all the teachings that he taught and summarized and made this into the song. Just that moment, you see. So very important, just keep this in your heart. It's very precious. Each words are very precious. Okay. We usually what we like mostly so emptiness, Mahamudra. Can you talk about that? I like that Mahamudra or this, that, we just always kind of what you call the simple beginning teachings, we treat them unimportant, not so interesting. No. But here every steps are very important. Like say before, because high school, the elementary school is very important, you see. Without going to elementary school, learning alphabet or so forth, we cannot get to the high school. Without going to high school, we cannot go to the college. So high school is as important as the college. And college is as important as the university. See? So make sure we understood this and we pay attention on this. So, to free from samsara, we need all this key. One is not enough. All the steps we need. So here, I will go word by word and give you some basic kind of clarification. Of course, we don't have much time because this is very profound. It contains the complete part. But I will go step by step. So here, what Jigten Sumgon said, I vow at the feet of glorious Phamodrupa, listen, Rinchen, my son. So it's Phamodrupa was his root guru, Jigten Sumgon's root guru, that from whom he received all the lineage teaching from Atisha, all the profound and vast teachings of the Madhyamika school, as well also the Maitriya's, Asanga's lineage teaching. All here, through that, all the teachings from it's called Katamba school, the Kambupa received. And then from Vajatara, Telopa, Naro, Marpa, all the Vajrayana teachings, and including the six yogas, Naropa and Mahamudra. From Milarepa received Kambupa, and Kambupa has transmitted to Phamodrupa, and that Kambupa, the Jigten Sumgon has received those complete teachings from Phamodrupa. And then listen, Rinchen Tak. So you just listen here. You are stuck, in the confusion. So I want to clarify this saying now. Wow, or hey, hello, or see, at the time of death now, at the time of death, that we all will die one day, So nowadays you see, especially nowadays, due to this pandemic, like you can hear the news from India and around there, so much there, that is there. So without this pandemic, eventually we'll die anyway, So sometimes we say, don't talk about that. But it is very important to reflect on this. How to prepare. This is nothing to the spiritual. This is a practical application. Like we want a lunch and how to prepare the lunch. This is nothing to do with the spiritual. We require. When we get sick, we need medicine. This is nothing to do with the spiritual. No. See, so at the time of death, we're desperate. What to do, how to help. We all are helpless. Then what do? We just cry. Please help. Somebody can help us. And this is not doing, we're not getting help. We're not getting this. We complain. Practical, we don't have real resource within us. No. So, Dharma teaching, what Buddha taught, is the real kind of medicine. As I mention all the time, it's not a religion. It's a practical approach. How to get the help at that moment when we need it the most. So that time you say here, the impermanence unavoidable at any cost, you see. It's very good, and this translation is good. The impermanence unavoidable at any cost. So, at that time, the worldly activities are our lives. The worldly activities, everybody involves. There you see, here comes the 8 dharmas are the color of the rainbow. So what are the worldly activities? It's called the 8 dharmas. Then the 8 worldly concern. It's called 8 worldly concern. What are those? Gain. We want to gain the wealth. We don't want to lose the wealth. So these 2. Gain wealth and not losing. No. Then we want comfort. Everybody wants the comfort. They don't want anybody. Nobody doesn't like to have the discomfort. No. Then we want to have a very pleasant words, not harsh words, or to become famous. We want to have a fame, no defame. And then praise, not blame. So this is called the 8 worldly concern. Everybody is concerned about this 8, you see. Anywhere you go, see, we share the same thing, Samsara is the same samsara wherever you go, When I came to US in the 80s, that time they were using, so they call it Tibetan Buddhism, So this is a Tibetan Buddhism. Then people are talking, now we have to have American Buddhism, We have to have such a good Buddhism, this Buddhism, that Buddhism, So, so what we can say, now here you can see the suffering of samsara is shared by everybody. Doesn't matter where you are, whatever religion you believe, doesn't matter. You believe Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, And or if you don't believe any religion, atheist, don't believe even causality, don't believe rebirth, but still your interest is this 8 holy concern. See, we all are interested in this 8 holy concern. So now saying, see, it's like the rainbow color. It's so, very beautiful rainbow color. But there's nothing. You cannot touch. You cannot wear it. You cannot use anything. It's just look at it. So the 8 holy concerns are like this rainbow. There's no practical benefit at the time of death. When you are dying, see, no matter how rich you are, how famous you are, or the person who doesn't have anything, and it's no regard to that person, but at the time of death, the same thing. No more, no less. So look at this saying. That's why I'm saying, can you put your trust in them when you need it? The support, help. Can these 8 holy concerns help you? Cannot. Because our interest is to free from entire suffering. Our interest is to achieve, to have all the peace and happiness. And having said that, when you will get that, so you get when we achieve enlightenment. So it's saying our focus is to achieve enlightenment. Don't just focus on this. Now here you see, doesn't suggest don't eat or wear clothes. Of course, we have to have enough food, clothes to wear, But that's not the only focus. Focus is how to free from entire samsara. Not just only for this life, not just only for today. Because as today, I need peace and happiness. That will be needed tomorrow, next year, at the time of death, next life. You see, I will be needed this peace and happiness all the time, anywhere. See, so that's why, so don't attach to this. These are just a rainbow color. This is a very beautiful metaphor. Just a rainbow color. It's just to watch, but there's no essence. So these 8 holy concerns seems very attractive. People who are powerful, people who are famous, people who are rich, looks very impressive at that moment. But it is like the rainbow color. There's nothing inside. See? So just look at this. We're not saying they are bad. No, we're not saying one who is famous, one who is rich, are they bad? No, they are not bad. But it's saying practical, look at practically how much you really can get benefit. Because we have only one stomach, one mouth. How much you can eat, If you eat too much, then you get sick. You see, so just be, what is saying, use your wisdom, insight, See, then next say here, when you see the separation between friends, the affection of relatives and friends is a lie. Heartfelt words are just like an echo. Think, can you put your trust in them? It means don't attach so much to your friends, families. No, say relatives, you say relatives, the family, and the friends. Don't attach too much. It doesn't mean don't care. You can care them. You can support them, but don't too much attach. When you are attached too much, you suffer. You suffer. Others also suffer. This is a very important point. I have some very good friends, in some places. Also some relatives. And when the mother, usually mother cares so much her children and also very attached to. Then the child doesn't do any good, misbehaving, and the mother is suffering so much. And then she tried to control the child, and the child is also suffering so much because she attached to the child and then controlling all this. So I gave advice. So you should take care of your child as much as you can. Give very good advice. What to do, what not to do. And then don't attach so much. Don't control so much. No. It's your responsibility to give very good advice. Give all the support you can, like sending to school, like this, but don't attach so much. So later, a couple of years, the mother said, your advice is so wonderful, said. It really gave me such a fresh relief, said. No? Because I cared my child, I did what I could, but don't expect so much. Don't expect child will do everything what you said, what you want to do. The child may not do it. Then you have a pain in your heart. And the child has a pain in their heart. So like that, you see, so the mother said, I'm so grateful for your advice. Oh. So like this, it's like here. When you see the separation of gathered friends, you see, your friends, your relatives, when you separate from them, or when they die, or when they go to other places, and your attachment is so much, you don't want to let them go. You are just hold on, grasping. Then there's so much suffering, you see. But just remember, everything is impermanent, subject of change. You help them. You support them all you could, but prepare. Everything is impermanent. Of course, there's some sadness because we still were not enlightened, We're not enlightened. Still, there's some attachment. But if we prepare, then there's many layers, there are many degrees of attachment. And we can release as much as we can. Let go and practice bodhicitta. You see, compassion. So this is the example of the impermanence. Everything is changing. This. So yes, we're saying the heartfelt words are just an echo. Then at that time, you're giving all these words of your attachment. I'm so attached to you. I don't want to let you go. I don't want to let you die. You just this just lately you saw some videos from India through the pandemic that the husband, wife dies or mother dies, and the child doesn't let go, holding, how much suffering is there. You see, everywhere same. At that time, if you meditate, that's the best thing you can do. Just remind, if it's a practitioner, just reflect on the impermanence, reflect on the bodhicitta, reflect everything as an illusory nature. Don't attach to anything, anybody. You just go by yourself. Take your path. We'll say prayers for you. That's the best advice. Holding, grasping, then it suffers so much. The dying person suffers, and you suffer so much. So like these things, so that's the Dharma, Buddha's wisdom. This is nothing to the religion, but it's the wisdom. It's a skill. It's a compassion. See, this, we all need this. We require these things when we need it. So the Dharma is the real wisdom, a critical wisdom when we need it the most. So actually, everybody needs Dharma, but only few are interested. Only few can understand. So you see, those who are interested, we should feel, I'm so fortunate. I'm the lucky one. I have a good karma, good fortune to meet the Dharma and to study, practice Dharma. So you become wise and you can help others so well. That's what we call Dharma is about. Mind is like a space. You open your mind like a space. Or just break the very narrow mind, because we are just entangled in this dimension of confusion, and then attachment, aversion, pride, jealousy, so these things. We're so entangled within that. And let these go and bring the wisdom inside and meditate. That's the Dharma, what we need, you see, all the time. Even before Buddha came, everybody needs this. And then Buddha came, taught these wisdoms, and how many are benefited so much, up until now. But afterwards, then Dharma became a religion, Buddhism, something Buddhist belief, Buddhist concept. Sometimes we say emptiness is a Buddhist concept. Causality is a Buddhist concept. Rebirth is a Buddhist concept, So they become a Buddhist. I think it's kind of like degenerating the meaning of the Buddha's teaching itself. We need to revive that teaching, not as a Buddhism, but it's a reality nature, how to solve the problem. We should have such a critical insight, deeper meaning, going down more, not just at the shallow. Like when you see enemy, just kill that time, and that's all problem solved. But that's not the way to solve the problem. Immediately, yes, the enemy is killed, but then there comes more enemies, as in the Shadid text mentioned, If you take care of one enemy, there will come 2 enemies, then 4 enemies, then 10 enemies, But if you take care of our own mind, the mental afflictions, then it's as if it is like taking care of all the enemies. So that's what that the teaching is here now saying, So the heartfelt words means the words you're talking about how out of attachment. So this all are and like an echo. No essence, like the rainbow, an echo. See? Then after that, it says, when growth and decline of the 4 elements of the body occurs, the illusion of strength and ability is also a lie. The spring flower, spring, I think so, no spring, fall. Tonga, you see, in Tibetan there's a car, you see. Lu Zhungxila, the transliteration, Lu Zhungxila, Dagu Zhungtana, Jusheba Pate Zumbuga. Langzo Tonga, Mento, Tonga is fall. It's the fall or the autumn. So the autumn flower, a fall flower of youth. Think, can you put your trust in it? When you are young, or so when you're growing, like about teenage, 20s, 30s, body is strong. You can, chew very raw food. And I just easily can run and you jump. All this you can do. Very strong. But then when you're getting old, 70s, 80s, 90s, then you get difficult to stand up and difficult to sit down. Your hair becomes gray, You can't eat this, you can't eat that, you can't do this and that. There's a lot of limitations. So it's that the growth and declining of 4 elements of the body occurs. The illusion of strength and ability is also alive. So then when you're 70s, 80s, you see, then you will say, oh, when I was young, I was very strong, I can run, I can do this. So that's just lie now. It's gone. You don't have it here now. You see? So look at this. It's part of impermanence. The suffering of aging. See? Even though our elements are declining, but still we try to keep young. As we talked about this before. So it's just you can see the play of the samsara. Through these teachings, you look now, get insight of this samsara. Then you can see very precisely, how we are confused, how we are so much deluded. See, and that's it, we can't accept who you are now. When we are young, we are bright. But when you get old, the face becomes wrinkled face, then you don't want to look at your face. So you cannot accept who you are, where you are. And there's so much suffering. That's called suffering of aging. Look at this. So the answer is practice Dharma. Everything is illusory nature. Manifest from causes and conditions. Release the attachment. Let go our attachment. Practice the bodhicitta, which will come later, but here I can say also, practice the bodhicitta, compassion, loving kindness. Look at in the world who are suffering so much. And then you appreciate yourself. Even though I have a lot of limitation physically, let's just say, my physically is not that good, but I have Dharma. I can practice this. I can accept this. I can utilize this to embrace your own nature of your own mind. The enlightenment is eventually, or at the end, enlightenment is within us. There's no other place to go to achieve enlightenment. So you cannot go in a special place, so you go to that place, you will achieve enlightenment. There's no special place. Now this, we know the Bodh Gaya, where Buddha achieved enlightenment. Every year, hundreds of thousands of people go there for pilgrimage. This is the most holy place. But if we are not prepared enough, Bodh Gaya is very dusty place. Lot of dust, and you get the flu easily, there. And it's just a very difficult place, But people still go there because it's a Buddha enlightened. So we should understand that. Even we go to the Buddha enlightened place, we go there, still we are not enlightened, Then sometimes we say, I went to Bodh Gaya, then I got all the flu, I got the diarrhea, all these things, Instead of enlightened, you got the diarrhea, you got flu, and then so you come back with bad shape, So we practice where you are. That's your Bodhikaya. So Bodhikaya is within us, in our own mind. The luminosity of your mind is the Bodhikaya. The non-duality nature of your mind is the Bodhikaya. So Bodhikaya is within you. Make sure you understood that. That's the Buddha's teaching. The wisdom that Buddha taught us. Your mind is the universe. Your mind is the Pure Land mind. So we have to understand how to actualize that. That's why Dharma study, practice is so important. So the illusion of strength and ability is also a lie, you see. In the morning, just say, I'm strong, I can run. But in the afternoon, if I get a headache, then I cannot run. I cannot jump. So I got a headache, there's no strength. So being that strong in the morning is a lie in the afternoon when I got the headache. I said, now I got a good lunch. So now I'm happy. After 3, 4, 5 hours, I'm hungry. So your stomach full was a lie, because at 4, 5, after 4, 5 hours, you're hungry. You see? So that's called everything's impermanent. Everything's changing. That very changing nature itself is emptiness. But without that phenomena, there's nothing to change. So that changing itself is impermanence. And that impermanence itself is emptiness. And emptiness is manifesting into the impermanence. So that's called, we have to understand how the play of this all phenomena. This all within in the framework of the causality, cause. There comes the name called karma. Karma is not something always bad. There's good karma. But the causality plays within in the dimension of the emptiness. Within in the causality that abides within in the emptiness. Look at this. That's what's called non-duality. That's why we need meditation practice. Because in our dualistic mind, difficult to capture. When there's something to see, that what you see as an emptiness. Difficult. You see? But emptiness is, that very nature is emptiness. But that comes through the practice, not from the intellectual. See? So these teachings are so profound. So I have to say these things because to convey, to understand the point. So I have to I have to articulate precisely all about this play. There's no ultimate without relative. You see, the relative itself is ultimate. Because ultimate is relative. No, ultimate itself is relative. The relative is ultimate. But through our communication, through our understanding, we have to say, this is called relative. This is called ultimate. But in reality, it's non-duality. So it is scientific. It's not a Buddhist philosophy. It's the reality nature of the phenomena. See? Whole reality nature. Whether you believe or don't believe, that's secondary. That's nothing. No, don't worry about it. But those who are interested, we should understand that. So there's a Buddha's teaching. It's the real teaching, is the interest for everybody. Because Buddha's compassion pervades every sentient beings, from the smallest insect to the highest one. There's no judgment. There's no discrimination. There's no racist. Buddha's teaching is for, Buddha talked for everybody. No one is excluded. See? because the causality of the whole universe is functions within in the dimension of this universe. So it's so precious, the teaching. See? So we are in, when we don't understand these things, then when we get sick, we are suffering. When we get old, then we suffer. And then, of course, at the end of the life, then we suffer so much. Because our minds demand, our mind functions within the duality. So when we practice Dharma teachings, then this all happens. Even great bodhisattvas, they age, you see. They get sick. Finally, they die. Even we call Nagarjuna, great, famous in the Buddhist war. Said Nagarjuna, but he, at the end of his life, his neck is cut by the piece of grass. He said, "This is I have to pay my karma." So in the United States, we say, no one is above the law. So in the Buddhist, we say, no one is above the karma. Even Buddha follows the karma. Buddha today say, I'm above the karma. Because karma is universal. So we all just follow the karma. This is some very precious thing. Keep that in our heart. The real practice is karma, the causality. We are making a good causality. Because everything functions within the dimension of causality. That's the wisdom of Buddha. That's what Buddha is called all-knowing. Buddha knows all the causes and conditions. And that he taught to all his disciples. Right from beginning, you see, that's what Buddha taught first, Four Noble Truths. See, the Buddha said, you should know about the suffering. And you should avoid the cause of suffering, you see. You should achieve the cessation of suffering. And you should follow the path to the cessation. So it's all description of the causality. And the world is functioning with the causality, you see. All this now, the pandemic manifests from causes and conditions. All the climate change, the climate changing is also based on the causality. See, so we have to understand that. Then we get a good understanding and then share this to others. Sometimes, I'm sure many of you have heard of, so chant this mantra, this deity mantras to get rid of this pandemic. I don't know, as a mantra of course helps, but mantra cannot transcend karma unless we purify, See, for those practicing the mantra, reciting the mantra and chanting the mantra, is good for individuals' purification. Yes, I agree. If you do practice that properly, with pure motivation, with all the skills, methods is helpful for the individual. But for whole society, we must look at the real cause, not just immediate cause. There's so many causes, you see. That's called the primary cause, you know. There's called contributory cause. There's called immediate cause or condition. The condition of cause. There's so many, you see, in this subject. And these are the very important we study thoroughly. And then we see, yes, what is how Buddha taught. It's all about our mind. Our initial mind, and then immediate condition, immediate reaction. There's so many, you see, for that. Okay. Now, next, what is said is when you see the gathering and dispersing of wealth, clinking and painful accumulation are also lies. The food and wealth are like a dew on a blade of grass. Think, can you put your trust in them? This also you see. The world is, you see, so much into the dimension of economy. Of course, we need economy. We need good share so everybody can live. And everybody has the responsibility. It's very important. But when we become too much, when there's a reckless greed, then there comes the suffering. No. There's suffering so much there. So clinging, no, and painful accumulation are also lies. Here, food means not just only eating food, clothes, and our house, and then says wealth are dew on a blade of grass, you see. The dew on the blade of grass in the morning, the dew is so fresh on the grass, on the tree, on the leaves, but it is very easy to fall down. So all the wealth are like that. We try to secure our wealth. Look at nowadays, there are so many millionaires, billionaires, everywhere in the world, you see. To become millionaire, to become billionaires, it takes a lot of pain. It's hard work. But then you look at to see how much suffering is there. And then look at this, how many poor people there. Just we're talking about India, you see. India, there's some are very rich billionaire, you see. But then look at this, so poor, slam on the streets. How much they suffer. No, the billionaires out there, so rich, and the poor on the street, So look at this, you see. How you can just contemplate on this, you see. How the billionaire can live life like that, while looking on the people on the street. No enough food, no enough clothes. See. Of course, yes, as I mentioned, they work hard. But without people there, how they can become billionaire? No. You see, usually you see, like just I myself practicing, when I get a bowl of delicious breakfast, just I think of this, where this is come from. It's come from others. First from farmer. The farmer worked so hard, harvested, and the dealer brought to the store. And then the store we buy. And then, like me, our Sumgon members, they donate. They give the donations. Then I get chance to buy. And I got this bowl of delicious breakfast. So this is something is connected with so many people. Many contributions are just here. It's because of the people. Oh, those people. I got this. Without the contribution of all those people, how I can get this bowl of breakfast? I cannot get it. So those billionaires, they become billionaire because of all those people in the country and beyond the country. So that's why Milarepa said, all our benefits, happiness has come from others. Without the other, I cannot get what I have the benefit. Just say I go to the desolate place, a desert, there's nothing, there's nobody. I go there, then just look at myself. Can I become rich there? Can I become famous there? I cannot become famous there. I cannot become rich there. Because of all the people around. Then I got all these benefits. See, look at this, you see. So this is not a religious training. It's a practical approach. How to bring real peace and happiness in the world. See, I practice love and compassion because the sentient beings. It's not a spiritual thing. It's a practical approach for peace and happiness. I cannot practice love and compassion to the piece of rocks, piece of woods. No one will say you should practice your love and compassion to this piece of rock or this piece of woods. I practice love and compassion because of all the sentient beings. Look at you, see. I practice generosity because of the sentient beings I give. I cannot give things on the piece of rock and then I practice the generosity, I give some food to the fish, birds, because they are sentient beings. I feel I'm giving something to the fish, to the birds, to the other people, I practice patience because of sentient beings. If I'm by myself, Nobody bothers me. I no need practice patience. Because there's some who irritates me, who digs my limitation, then I'm, entangled with my confusion. And there I get a chance to practice the patience. So you see, all these good qualities that I achieve is because of the sentient beings. So Buddha practiced this for eons and eons and realized how sentient beings are important. So you say, in the Shantideva's text you mentioned, both sentient beings and Buddha are equally important for our practice. Buddha is important to get all the teachings, to receive all the teachings. Sentient beings are important for our practice of love and compassion. So look at these, we meditate. We share to all others. Then the pain we took or we got become useful. Otherwise, it's just a pain, it's just a suffering. So the clinging and painful accumulation are also lies. Now, this doesn't mean don't accumulate. You can accumulate, but accumulate to help others, to benefit others. So like Buddha taught teachings how to share to others. So look at Buddha. See, Buddha was just a good, great example, you see. After he achieved enlightenment, Buddha, after he achieved enlightenment, became Buddha, he didn't say, now I'm Buddha. Now I need a very mansion, beautiful mansion. I rest there, I'm enlightened, I'm great master. Now you come here, I will teach, and then I collect all your donations. But Buddha just walked place to place and shared wisdom and helping others. Same as like you look at the Milarepa. Milarepa went to place as like the genie you asked. So Milarepa went to a household, a lady who was a child. And then she said, she didn't know he was Milarepa. She thought he's just some kind of a yogi, So she said, I have a very important work to do out there. So just come here, you just look at my child, look at the goat that I have outside. Take care of them. Then when I come back, I'll give you food. So then when Milarepa, you see, to give her important teachings, he was not trying to please her, but tried to give important teachings. So he just sat there and meditated. When she was coming back, her child was crying. The goat is eating the field, and then she was furious, You should have a compassion to the child, My child is crying, And the mice is, the goat is eating my field, What are you doing here, So then, so I can't give you food, any food, Get out of here. So Milarepa said, I'm also so busy, I was so busy. So she said, what kind of busy you have? We are just staying there, I was so busy to take care of the child of my mind. And my mind is like a child, going everywhere. I'm trying to take care of that. And my mind is like a goat, eating everything, So I was so busy to take care of these things, So then she was confused, She didn't know what to say. Then at the end, then she realized whether the child cries or not cry, no, there's not so much difference. No. But to take care of the mind is the very important, most important. We don't try to take care of the mind. We try to take care of these other things, so much, as you can see, So like that, you see. So anyway, what I'm saying is that Milarepa, until even he achieved enlightenment, he just lived in the cave all the time. He was not saying, now I receive all the teachings, I am enlightened, now I will gather hundreds of thousands of disciples, and I built a big monastery, All the disciples, he come together and he give teachings, and he just said, meditate, go to retreat. Don't wander here and there. Don't waste your time. That's how the teaching is established. That's how people got the benefit. See, nowadays we build big monasteries, and not so much benefit there. See, because life becomes so busy building monastery instead of busy practicing in the retreat. So mind is not easy to tame. Mind is not easy to enlighten. It's the wound of the body is easy to heal. The wound of the mind is very difficult to heal. It requires a lot of patience, wisdom, skill, step by step, you see. To do that, we need the Dharma. Without the Dharma, no, it cannot help. When everything goes well, still there's a problem, you see. When things goes wrong, of course there's a problem. When things goes well, still there's a problem. When the country has a very good economic, there's a problem. When there's no economic, of course there's more problem. That's samsara, you see. So that's why we need Dharma to study, practice the Dharma. See, the wisdom is not a training, as I mentioned, it's not a training of the religion, but it's a training of the mind. Make the mind more flexible, more ruly. Our mind is unruly, you see. It doesn't go where I want. It goes its own way, Then it makes me miserable, I make miserable by myself more easily than others, you see. Others seldom, occasionally makes it. But I make my mind miserable every day, So to that, without Dharma, not possible. That's why Dharma is so precious, you see. Otherwise, sometimes we say, oh, this thing's bad, this thing's bad. Says, oh, I don't like the Dharma, Dharma is like saying everything's bad. I don't like that. It's just, it's very negative, Like we went, the Shantideva's chapter 8, digging all the corner of the suffering of the sentient beings, you don't want to listen to that, So Dharma is so beautiful, so precious. Once you were tuned in, you see, then there's nothing more important than Dharma. See? So we should understand this and dedicate ourselves. You just practice as much as you can. Just sincerely, I'm not saying you should torture yourself, but heal yourself. We have to heal our mind by ourselves. So meditate on this, you see. So here, say how much people are suffering because of we take the pain accumulating wealth. You see the wall, how to become millionaire, how to become billionaire, and how much suffering is there. Then at the end of the day, you have to leave everything behind. You can't carry a penny. See, even we have to leave this body behind. We cherish most is our body we cherish. This also have to leave behind, Then say goodbye. Then mind has to go next and start again, That's how you see. So look at this Dharma. When you have wealth of the Dharma, you are really rich. That wealth you can carry life after life. So that's the bodhicitta. When you have a bodhicitta, you can carry life after life until you become Buddha. So look at these. So we need a special insight, critical insight. As I mentioned, I mentioned many times, I'm not saying we should not have food, clothes, shelter, Of course, those are necessary. Especially like beginner, like myself, a beginner, we need those. But they are not the absolute important. See? So the mind is the very important point now. Okay. Then next, maybe we go this. When you see the suffering of birth and death, the happiness of the assemblies of gods and man is a lie. The joy and suffering of wheel of samsara. Think, can you put your trust in them? See, now this, we look at this, We are born with suffering. When the mother delivers the child, the baby, how much the baby is crying. How much the mother has the pain. See. The child, the baby cries helplessly, screaming because there's pain. But we don't remember it. Some in the text mentioned, because of that great pain, that pain makes to forget our previous life. In the life, you see, in our life, when there's a trauma in our life, strong depression or trauma, when you are traumatized, then we forget. The clarity of mind is not there. When the mind is peaceful, clear, and everything's vivid, precise. See? So they're saying that, So that's why it's very important in our daily life, keep our mind calm and peaceful. And just develop love and compassion to all others. Relax the mind. Release the stress of the mind. And then our mind can be very kind of precise, clear. And there'll be less dementia. The dementia comes, of course, when we age, it comes, but especially when there's traumatized, when there's a lot of problems, or physical sickness, then when these things happens, or mentally stressed, then it's very easy to have the dementia. Things we forget very easily, So therefore, keep your mind always in a state, loving kindness, compassion, and then meditate. Look at everything is impermanent. When there's some disasters comes, develop compassion, but instead of so kind of frightened, this is impermanent. It's not just you're not taking responsibility. You do all what you can. You can share what you can, but mentally always keep the mind calm, peaceful. So that helps mind to not to get the dementia, not to forget easily. So I think these are very important tips that we practice, even for this life. Then Dharma practices. Because, one of my teachers was Kundura Buche. He was the embodiment of bodhicitta. The last time when I received teaching, he was in the 80s, actually 82, when he was 82. His memory was so fresh. That time I was receiving the teaching of the jewel ornament of liberation for 2 months. Like, because Kampupa's the teacher was Milarepa. So there's a lot of quotation from Milarepa. So I felt as if he has remembered or memorized all the 100,000 songs of Milarepa. So fresh. Any quotations he can bring, So that time I have there's nothing special, as I was just beginner, it's just beginners. So, this is the teacher, But later, when I see, the people forget all this and that, then I see how great memory he has. It's because he's bodhicitta. His great bodhicitta now maintains his mind such a clear, pure. Because he's aged, old, 80 years old. He's very fragile physically, and walking with the waffly walking, all this, but mentally so fresh. So that's, you see, bodhicitta is the one of the key, to purify all our negativities, to accumulate great merit, wisdom, to get benefit for oneself and give benefit for others. You see, bodhicitta. So now here, what it says, I'm saying, at the time of birth, you see how much suffering is there. But we don't say so much about this. But in the Dharma teachings, they're saying, when you look at the jewel ornament of liberation, there is describes the suffering of birth there, so detailed. Then you see death, you see, everybody is afraid of death. Unless you're great Bodhisattva, or Buddha, then you are not afraid. But everyone is afraid of death. I'm very afraid of death. You see. So our life began with the suffering. And our life ends with suffering. You see, we are living in between these two. You see, now between these two, we try to enjoy life. You see, this is how we are deluded. You see, how confused we are. Look at, you see. Just careful. You see. That's why I say, open your heart. Universally, all the sentient beings, even animals, they are afraid of death, you see. When the tiger chases the deer, how much the deer runs away, as fast as possible, because they're afraid of death. When the wolf chases the rabbit, how much the rabbit runs, you see, is afraid of death. When the hawk chases the bird, how much the bird runs away. So everybody, not only human beings, there's the suffering of death is there. So we're living in between these two. So this is, as I mentioned, nothing to the spiritual. It's all reality nature. But Dharma gives us this wisdom, explains detail. You see, that's very important. Not hiding, just opening up. Look at it, reality nature. That's what you can do. We are in that now. So we are in that position. What we should do. That's called transparency. Transparency. See, just look at the transparency of samsara. Clearly, precisely look at, because we have the Dharma, Buddha's wisdom we have, how to solve this all problem. There's no any problem that exists that which we cannot solve. See, that's the wonder of the Dharma teaching. That's the wonder of the Buddha's wisdom. It's so precious, you see. Whether you want to do or not do is individual choice. Of course, nobody can force it. But if we want to free from suffering, Dharma is the answer. As long as we have the breath, we have to keep trying. Sometimes we feel good. Sometimes you say, oh, I should give up Dharma. I don't like Dharma. So sometimes I have practiced in Dharma for that many years. Now there's nothing improved. What happened, Maybe I should give up, A lot of these things can happen. But just open up your heart. Then see what's the, at the end of the day, what the real solution of the suffering. If I don't practice Dharma, how I can free from suffering? Then you say, oh, I have no choice. No, I have no choice not to practice Dharma. No. So I have the precious human life. I'm so grateful. I'm so fortunate. Then there are three faiths or three trusts. Each of it, the faith of trust, the faith of longing, and the faith of clear. Faith of trust means faith of trust, causality. You trust of the causality, cause and the condition that brings the result. All the result, all the effect that there are is all based on the causes and conditions. Nothing manifests from zero. Everything manifests from something. Okay? And we have to understand what are those something of each of these, because it's exactly manifests from the whatever the cause it is. Like you say, a magician show, that magician cannot show all the magics. The magician has to have whatever the causes, the condition to show the magic. No. So if the magician brings the tricks of like waters, so there is a special method for the water to produce, to show his magic. The water he's producing, he cannot produce milk. Because to produce milk, he has to have cause for that, you see. So every cause has a specific to manifest the result. Not everything, you see. So these are very important. Chanting mantra with the melody, it's so good, beautiful, so can you tune in to chanting melody, and the beautiful sound. They're wonderful. You feel good. It heals the mind. But more profoundly, you have to look at each cause, because we have to dig our mental afflictions, the cause of the suffering. So he has mentioned the suffering of the birth, then suffering of aging, suffering of sickness, and suffering of death. You see, look at these. Then what are the cause of those? So there you can study the 12 interdependent links, you see, if you want to go further, you see. The first, what's the root cause? Say ignorance. Then within that ignorance, then we create called formation. Duje in Tibetan, duje, formation means creating all the different karmas that plant the seed to the consciousness. Then the consciousness now enters into mother's womb, called name and form. Then there comes contact with the objects. Eyes see the form, ears hears the sound, nose smells, tongue tastes, body, touch, and the mind, phenomena, contact. Before contact, it's called increasing field, increasing field. After the increasing field, subject to object, then there's a contact next. When there's a contact, there's a feeling. See, it's called grasping. Then there's called craving. See, then when that happens, there's existence, becoming existence. Then there comes birth. Then all this relate, suffering. So you ask, what are this, all the suffering come from? So I don't want to die. Then before death, I don't want to age. Before age, I don't want to get sick. Then what are all those? So she's not born. Birth is the beginning of our life, the journey, What should I do not to born? I should not create karma, What should I do not to create karma? Take care of the ignorance. Take care of these mental afflictions, you see. There's one word, solipsist. You know the word? Solipsist. You don't know the word. S-O-L-I-P, solip. S-I-S-T, solipsist. What's that? Now you know the word, solipsist. The ego clinging. Okay. So say, well, somebody taught me, say you should learn this word. And so now I'm using here for solipsistic means I'm so egoistic. I grantize my ego. When grasping, actually there's no ego itself, you see. It's just a notion. It's just a label. And we mistake about the label. We think something is exist, like a table. We say table is a name. Table, so you bring woods put together and you make a table, and it's called table. So the table is manifest out of emptiness. You see? So, but we are so attached to the table. Because of when the table breaks out of attachment, then we suffer. Oh, my beautiful table is now broke. I don't like that, I'm suffering, without realizing the table is manifested from the emptiness. So we are manifested from emptiness, but we're grasping on that. So solipsistic, grasping the mind, that brings all the suffering. So then when you release that ignorance, then there's no attachment. There's no aversion. When these are purified, there's no reason to create karma. Cause, you see? But our habit was so ingrained through many lifetimes, and without effort, these just manifest very easily, as if something very real, So we're entangled within this confusion, from the, life after life. So that's what we need, Dharma. We need the wisdom, you see. We try to undo that we are so entangled. We're just suffering so much there unnecessarily, So we should have the conviction on this. So that's why you see, we are so excited in between this, birth and death. That's just whatever time we have, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 60 years, 90 years, whatever time we have, we're so excited within that. And then gone. So you say it's a lie. It means it's not real. It's not there as we grasping, as we wished for, as we attached. It's not there. So say we are so deluded, we're so confused, and then we suffer helplessly. So that's why Buddha's compassion, is so immense compassion. Buddha saw this suffering of sentient beings into samsara. You can see them, as mentioned, Buddha's teaching can go anywhere. But we need a nerve. We need a wisdom. We need a courage. It's called indomitable courage we need to help other sentient beings. First, we should get help to ourselves. We get help to ourselves. So this first very important. How everything functions within the causality. All this causality, there's not just one cause, two causes, one condition, two conditions. There's so many causes and conditions. For the one solution, there's, as I mentioned, I mentioned, there's an enemy, say, oh, this is my enemy, I just get rid of it. At that moment, it's kind of solution, but it's not the absolute solution. You see, when I get rid of him, there's more coming behind, behind more and more coming. So then, what the best solution? First, I purify my mind. I purify my delusions, ignorance, and develop wisdom, compassion, heal myself. I heal my mind. Once I heal my mind is dominated by the great compassion based on the wisdom. You see, compassion without wisdom doesn't go too far. It's very limited compassion. Sometimes it can be idiot compassion. We don't want that. We want compassion based on wisdom. See, sometimes painful, but we sacrifice that. We go through it. Everything is not easy solution. Sometimes we take risk, but we take risk out of wisdom. Develop the courage. Then with that, say, as I mentioned, then when I develop my mind such a way which is dominated by the great wisdom, critical insight, and great compassion, loving kindness, then I see there's no enemy. Everybody is my friend. Everybody is my mother. Everybody is my father, my child. See? That's the absolute solution, you see. Then from there, I can help anybody and everybody. See? It takes time, But that's the how. Buddha did it, and we should do it. Milarepa did it, see? And we follow their footsteps. No? Don't look at me, no, but look at the Buddha, look at the Milarepa, look at the Kambupa, you see how they did, how they went through, how they established the teachings. It's unimaginable. Their compassion, their wisdom, their skill is beyond our measurement. No, we don't have enough wisdom to see, to appreciate. So we follow their footsteps. So now is the time, really, I think it's the time for Dharma to flourish everywhere. Not as a religion, not as a Buddhism, not as a Buddhist concept, but as a universal reality, as a universal truth. No, it's very important, I think, now. So we should not just, we should not just involve some chanting mantras, some rituals, and some ceremonies, Some occasionally it feels you good, gives you some kind of relief. As well, beginner, we need some of those things. But at the end of the day, we have to understand the Dharma. Otherwise, there's a danger to give up the Dharma. You study, I know there are some people who study Dharma for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, then they give up. Why? Because the Dharma was not deeply rooted in their heart. Could not get the meaning of the Dharma. They took as like a religion, So we need Dharma to understand as a universal truth. Then you are totally within that. And then you will never waste your time. You just go forward. And you always appreciate, rejoice. When suffering comes, you deal with it. When there's happiness, you enjoy it. And sometimes your suffering also you can enjoy. So I'm so happy I have this suffering now. I purify all my obscurations. Everything becomes positive. See? Oh, you need a short break. First, make a short break. Oh, Banza Sato Samaya, Mano Balaya, Banza Sato Tenova, Dida Dedo Membawa, Sudu Kayo Membawa, Subu Kayo Membawa, Anorato Membawa, Sorwasi de Meprayata, Sorwakarmo Sudame, Zedana Shreya, Guru Hum, ha, ho, Baba. Sorwata Danga de Bedramami Munzambal Zembawa, Ma Samaya, Sadu. Okay, 10 minutes, please.